PETERBOT is a professional American esports player and is currently the best player in the world, and it's not even close, winning 143,000 earnings in just 7 months, first in the current FNCS, which is considered the hardest FNCS to ever be played, winning back-to-back FNCSs. So how did this all unfold? PETERBOT has been competing in Fortnite since the very start of the game. However, he would go on and blow up in 2022 after winning his first grand finals, which would earn him a mind-blowing 65,000. In that same year, his total earnings would be 95,000, which is almost a 2 times improvement from 2021. However, that year was disappointing to PETERBOT, since apart from winning the FNCS, he would go on and get 4 second places, 2 third places, and PETERBOT of course wanted to be first in all of them. After that year, PETERBOT would go on and put in even more hours to practice his builds, play a ton of scrims, and play tokens with other pros, which is just zone wars. He would find and duo up with Booger. Yes, the world champion Booger, that's the correct one we're talking about. They would go on to play with each other from the start of the year till the FNCS grand finals. Their performances would not really meet the expectations, winning only $6,400 together, including the FNCS earnings, that is, and coming in only top 16 in the FNCS was definitely not to the standards of Booger and PETERBOT. With these results, it would actually end up with them splitting as a duo, and since the next FNCS was just in 1 month since the previous one, PETERBOT had to quickly adapt and find the correct duo for himself, and he went with Kovanti, which is another professional pro player with over 100,000 earned. They would do mediocre leading up to the finals, but end up actually getting a solid 9th at the end, which was definitely a step up from him playing with Booger. Due to them getting a 9th in the finals, PETERBOT would struggle to decide whether he wants to play with Kovanti still or someone else. He starts playing some cash cups with a player called Larson, which is an underrated NA pro. After he got 9th and 4th in the duo cash cup with Larson, he decides to play with him for the upcoming FNCS. Their average placements in the qualifier would be 12, which is really good, top 12, which is really good, and in the first day of the grand finals they would do phenomenal and get a top 9. They were on track for a top 10 finish at minimum. All they had to do was repeat what they were doing, but in day 2. However, that didn't happen. They unfortunately got top 36 in day 2, and this was one of the most polarizing performances we have ever seen. But in the end, overall, they managed to get top 18, so maybe dropping Kovanti was a bad idea. PETERBOT would still carry on grinding the game to extreme lengths, streaming all of it at the same time. He would play every single solo cash cup and duo cash cup whoever was available since August 24th, 2023 to October 24th, 2023. But then PETERBOT made one of the most important decisions in his entire career, which would be to pick up Polo as the next duo partner. And bearing in mind Booger had just dropped it before this. First tournament together would be a mix-up Monday, which they would get a top 9. Then in their first duo cash cup, they would place a staggering top 11. If you enjoyed this video, by the way, a sub to the channel would mean a whole lot and it would be phenomenal. With that being said, let's get straight back into the video. Then they would win 2 summer skirmish tournaments, showcasing that the duo synergy was working. Their next duo cash cup, they would place top 7 and they would win the very next one. There was a clear trend that PETERBOT and Poyo were getting better with each game they played. Leading up to the Major 1 FNCS in 2024, PETERBOT and Poyo would get a top 4 in the duo cash cup, keeping the confidence and hopes very, very high. At this point, no one really considered PETERBOT and Poyo to do well. They weren't the favorites at all. In the open qualifiers, they would get second 3 times, and the rest, it will be 84, 690, 83, and 130 and 11, which is still very good, but the second 3 times put them in uppers. In the semis, they would do extremely well, especially being in uppers, which is basically a set lobby equivalent. And yes, they did have a 12 KD on average, which is insane in a pro only lobby, and essentially again a set lobby. They would come second in the grand finals, but losing to a decent margin by Acorn and Cold. However, this was the best performance PETERBOT had put up since he won the FNCS back in 2022, which was 2 years ago. So with this performance, they stayed as a duo and kept playing together, and this would still be one of the best decisions PETERBOT has ever made. After that FNCS, they would win 4 back-to-back duo cash cups, which is really insane. The KD was out of order as well, sometimes not even losing a game in the 3 games they had to play, which was really good. The next FNCS would start on the 13th of April April 2024. They would easily qualify for upper semi-finals, and in there they would be the second team to get a win, meaning it's an instant qualification to grand finals. In the finals, it would be a total domination by PETERBOT and Poyo. On the first day of the finals, they would get first by a landslide. They have won the same amount of times as second place, but having more average kills, higher placement would ensure them an easy first place. This was also the FNCS where they had the Grim Gate medallion and PETERBOT was soloing duos. On the second day of the finals, it would only get worse for the players in the lobby as they would continue to dominate, winning 3 games out of the 6. Placing first in the second day would ensure them a FNCS win, meaning it would be PETERBOT's second FNCS win. Here was the overall rankings for the FNCS. They had the highest amount of points in the FNCS Grand Finals in every region ever. PETERBOT also had the highest kills as a single player in the history of FNCS, while doing the most damage as a single player as well. Looking back at the season, PETERBOT and Poyo owned it, winning 4 dual cash cups and now a total domination in the FNCS was to be expected. And definitely for this FNCS, they weren't the underdogs. People were really expecting them to actually win it, and they delivered. This also secured them a land spot, which was another plus and a huge bonus for the next FNCS as they can play stress free. So what was next? Well, another FNCS would start not much longer after this one, and they would compete in it stress free and looking to get as much money as possible. And that's exactly what they did. They would qualify for the upper semi-finals with ease as they have been doing, and would get a win in the 3rd game, resulting in an instant qualification to Grands once again. Then in Grands, they would see some competition from Clicks and Venom for the first spot, as they would take the first spot home for the whole first day. Then the very next day, they would switch on and frag out while winning some games and destroying the dreams of Clicks fans for winning a FNCS. These were the rankings for the second day, but since Akon and Cold placed so low in the first day, the cumulative score would be in the favor of PETERBOT and Poyo, thus giving them the win. Overall, PETERBOT and Poyo won by 79 points, and honestly, it was a comfortable win and it earned them each their $70,000. Now, PETERBOT has earned $143,000 so far in this year, and it's not even over. There's still the land, which supposedly is $1 million altogether, so let's see how much they place in that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch Mr. Savage Among Us story video on the screen right now, and peace out.